evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. How grateful I am to all of you for everything that you've been doing over the last few weeks, and for coming so late tonight to this venue, way past Keir Starmer's bedtime. We are talking now. If you are slightly surprised to see me, if you're slightly surprised, I want to be absolutely clear that I was glad when Rishi asked me to help. And of course, I couldn't say no. And I'm here for one reason and one reason only, which is the same reason as all of you, all of us are here. We're here because we love our country. And whatever our differences, they are utterly trivial by comparison with the disaster we may face if these so-called opinion polls are right. And so none of us can sit back as a Labour government prepares to use a sledgehammer majority to destroy so much of what we have achieved, what you have achieved. 5 years ago, you helped to send Jeremy Corbyn and his then disciple, Keir Starmer, into orbit where they belonged, and we got Brexit done. We restored democracy. We restored democracy to our country, and it was because we got a proper Brexit, and you will all remember how hard that fight was, that we came out of the EU single market and we controlled our own regulation. And my friends, whatever people may say, that national independence was vital when it came to approving COVID vaccines faster than any EU country, and therefore getting the fastest vaccine rollout of any major economy and the fastest economic rebound in the G7. Yet Labour are so cocky that they're so complacent, they're so smug, they're barely concealing their agenda anymore. And we can see what it is: whacking up taxes on pensions, on property, persecuting private enterprise, attacking private education and private healthcare, with all the pointless extra burden that will place on the taxpayer. And all the time, poor old Starmer is so terrified of disobeying left-wing dogma that he's reluctant to explain the difference between a man and a woman, and he just sits there with his mouth opening and shutting like a stunned mullet.
Isn't it great to have our Conservative family united, my friends? Yeah. Right. Just think, it was just the other day when Keir Starmer was saying that Jeremy Corbyn would have been a better Prime Minister than Boris. Shameful. Can you imagine what that would have meant for Ukraine? What would have meant for our country's security, our defence? The damage it would have done to our economy. In both 2017 and 2019, Keir Starmer put his personal ambition ahead of our country's national interest. Now, Boris is right to say now is the time for all Conservatives to come together to deny Labour that supermajority that Keir Starmer craves. We have 48 hours to save Britain from the danger of a Labour government. You saw in the debates, Keir Starmer's not going to do anything about tackling migration, is he? No. We've got a deterrent, and when the rest of Europe has realised that our approach is the right one, he would scrap it, release illegal migrants onto our streets, make us the soft touch of Europe when it comes to our defence. While we recognise this is the most dangerous time for our country in decades, investing more in our security, Keir Starmer would cut those plans in his first week in power as he goes to the NATO summit, and worse than that. The person who would be our Deputy Prime Minister, our Foreign Secretary, the people who would deputise for him on national security, don't even believe in our nuclear deterrent.